You were not born doubting yourself. That hesitation you feel before acting, that voice whispering, "What if it doesn't work?" That pause before you commit, none of that is natural. Doubt was installed, carefully, repeatedly, quietly. Somewhere along the way, someone taught you to hesitate. Someone rewarded you for playing small. Someone punished you for dreaming too loudly. And slowly, without your consent, a foreign program took root in your mind. Think about it. A child does not question whether they are worthy. A child does not debate whether they should try. They act, they reach, they fall and rise without ceremony. Doubt appears only after conditioning begins, after repetition, after enough moments where belief was met with ridicule, fear, or disappointment. So ask yourself now, when did you learn to doubt? Who benefited when you stopped trusting yourself? Every unrealized life follows the same silent pattern. Not failure, not lack of talent, not lack of opportunity. Indecision, the slow poison of waiting. The habit of postponing commitment until conditions feel safe. But safety is the greatest illusion ever sold to human potential. Nothing great has ever emerged from certainty. Everything powerful is born from decision. Say it aloud, and doubt is not who you are. It is something you accepted without questioning, and anything accepted can be rejected. You were not made to wait for permission. You were not designed to feel ready before acting. You were built to decide, and then become the person capable of honoring that decision. Right now, as you read this, a silent war is happening inside you. One voice wants comfort, the other wants destiny. One wants to observe, the other wants to act. And the one that wins will shape your entire future, not tomorrow, not someday, from this moment forward. Decide now, will you remain loyal to the identity built by fear, or will you claim the identity forged by choice? Comment below which side of the world you're watching from, share where you stand right now in life, and subscribe to the channel, because this message may decide everything that comes next. Everything begins with decision, not circumstances, not resources, not confidence. Decision comes first. This is the law that Napoleon Hill observed again and again while studying the most powerful achievers of his time. Before success appeared in their lives, before evidence existed, before support arrived, they decided who they were going to be. And once that decision was made, reality reorganized itself around it. Most people wait. They wait to feel confident. They wait for clarity. They wait for approval. But identity does not emerge from waiting. It emerges from commitment. You do not discover greatness by searching externally. You declare it internally. And until that declaration happens, your actions will always be hesitant, fragmented, and reversible. Say it aloud. I decide before I see results. Say it again. I act before I feel ready. This is the difference between those who lead history and those who observe it. Henry Ford decided the automobile would be affordable before the technology existed. When his engineers told him it was impossible, he didn't argue. He waited, not because he doubted, but because he refused to accept impossibility as final. He had already decided, and decision bends logic. Thomas Edison did not invent through optimism. He invented through persistence anchored in identity. He did not see himself as someone trying to create the light bulb. He saw himself as the man who would create it. Every failure was feedback, not evidence of inadequacy. That is faith defined, loyalty to a decision in the absence of proof. You were not made to negotiate with doubt. You were made to command your mind. Napoleon Hill called this definite purpose. Not a wish, not a hope. A burning, obsessive commitment that eliminates alternatives. Which brings us to a principle few are willing to live by, burning the boats. When warriors landed on enemy shores, they destroyed their own ships. Not for drama, for clarity. Retreat creates hesitation. Hesitation breeds fear. Fear paralyzes action. When retreat is removed, the mind shifts. Creativity sharpens. Courage awakens. Survival instincts activate. Ask yourself honestly, what boats have you secretly kept intact? What backup plans are you clinging to that dilute your power? As long as escape exists, commitment will remain partial. Decide now. There is no retreat for the person I am becoming. Autosuggestion is how this decision becomes permanent. The subconscious mind does not reason. It accepts repetition as truth. Whatever you tell yourself consistently, emotionally, and verbally, it obeys. This is why most people fail unconsciously. They repeat limitations daily without realizing it. From this moment forward, your rituals must change. Each morning, before the world speaks to you, you speak to yourself. Out loud, with authority, say it aloud: I am decisive. I act immediately. I trust my decisions. Say it again. I move before fear has time to speak. Faith is not emotion. Faith is identity in action. You do not wait to feel strong. You act strong until strength becomes natural. Emotion follows motion, always. Indecision is the real enemy. Not lack of knowledge, not lack of talent. The moment you decide, energy aligns. Opportunities reveal themselves. Momentum begins. And yet, the hardest part is not starting. It is letting the old self die, because the version of you that doubts, hesitates, and waits will resist extinction. It will bargain. It will remind you of past failures. It will whisper caution disguised as wisdom. But that voice is not you. It is a habit. From this moment forward, I choose commitment over comfort. And in the next part, you will confront the most dangerous illusion of all. The belief that time is on your side, and why delay silently destroys destiny before it ever has a chance to breathe. Time feels abundant when you don't yet understand its cost. That is the most dangerous illusion the human mind ever accepts. You think you have time because nothing has forced you to choose yet. You think delay is harmless because consequences are quiet at first. But time does not punish loudly. It erodes silently. It steals through postponement. It robs through hesitation. It destroys not with impact, but with neglect. Ask yourself this and answer honestly. How many lives have you already lived in your head, but never allowed to exist in reality? How many decisions did you almost make? How many moments did you feel the impulse to act and then talked yourself out of it? Those moments did not disappear. They accumulated. And accumulation is what shapes destiny, whether consciously or unconsciously. You were not made to drift. Drift is learned behavior. Napoleon Hill called it the most common cause of failure. Drifting is living without a firm decision, allowing circumstances, opinions, and moods to dictate direction. When you drift, you don't fail dramatically. You fade gradually. You wake up one day wondering how life passed without ever fully beginning. Say it aloud: I do not drift. I decide. The people who change history understand something most never grasp. Speed matters. Not reckless speed, decisive speed. The moment an idea aligns with purpose, they move. Not because they are fearless, but because they refuse to let fear vote. Fear is allowed to exist, but not to lead. Look at Andrew Carnegie, an immigrant with nothing, no privilege, no safety net. What separated him from millions like him was not luck. It was decision. He aligned himself with a clear purpose and moved with speed when opportunity appeared. He didn't wait to feel ready. He decided who he would become and acted as that man immediately. You were not made to wait until certainty appears. Certainty is created through action. Confidence is not the cause of movement. It is the result of movement repeated. Say it aloud: I create confidence through action. Most people reverse this law. They wait to feel confident, then act. But confidence never arrives because it only emerges after evidence, and evidence only comes after action. This creates a loop of paralysis, a mental prison where potential dies quietly. Faith, as Napoleon Hill described it, is self-generated belief through repetition and emotional conviction. Faith is trained, installed, reinforced, and the training ground is your daily inner dialogue. Right now, your subconscious is listening. It does not judge truth. It records frequency. Whatever you repeat most becomes law. This is why autosuggestion is not optional. It is constant. The only question is whether it is intentional or accidental. From this moment forward, your language must reflect your decision, not your mood, not your past, your decision. Say it aloud. I am the kind of person who acts immediately. Say it again. I trust my judgment and commit fully. There will be moments when emotion contradicts identity. You will feel tired, uncertain, unmotivated. That is where most people stop. But identity-based action ignores emotion. It moves anyway. Discipline is simply loyalty to identity when emotion disagrees. You were not made to obey your feelings. You were made to lead them. This is where the idea of burning the boats becomes more than metaphor. It becomes psychological law. When alternatives exist, commitment weakens. When escape is possible, effort becomes negotiable. But when the mind accepts that there is no return to the old self, something radical happens. Focus sharpens. Creativity intensifies. Courage becomes necessary, not optional. Ask yourself, what identity are you still secretly keeping alive just in case? The one who can always go back. The one who doesn't fully risk rejection. The one who avoids full exposure. That identity is costing you everything while pretending to protect you. Decide now if there is no return to who I used to be. History rewards those who remove retreat. Leaders, inventors, builders, they commit so deeply that quitting becomes unthinkable. They don't ask, what if it doesn't work? They ask, how will I make it work? And here is the uncomfortable truth. Indecision feels safe because it avoids responsibility. Once you decide, you become accountable. To yourself, to your future, to your potential. And accountability terrifies the untrained mind. But you are training now. Repetition is your weapon, not occasional motivation, not inspiration once a week. Daily reinforcement, spoken, felt, lived. Every morning, declare who you are becoming. Every decision, act as that person would act. Every doubt, replace it with declaration. Say it aloud. I am committed. I finish what I start. Say it again. I move forward even when fear is present. The old self will resist. It will try to survive by reminding you of comfort, familiarity, and past identity. That resistance is proof that transformation is real. Death of the old self is never quiet. It protests, it negotiates, it pleads. But hesitation is the last language of a dying identity. From this moment forward, I choose action over delay. Subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. And in the next part, you will face the most seductive enemy of all, comfort, and discover why the life you desire exists only beyond the point where comfort ends, and why most never cross that invisible line. Comfort never announces itself as danger. It arrives disguised as reason, as patience, as self-care, as waiting for the right moment. That is why it destroys more destinies than fear ever could. Fear is loud, fear is obvious, comfort is subtle. It whispers, not now, and every time you listen, you trade a piece of your future for a moment of relief. You were not made to be comfortable. You were made to expand. Growth and comfort cannot coexist. One requires tension, the other avoids it. Napoleon Hill observed that the moment a person becomes too comfortable, desire weakens, initiative fades, and imagination dulls. Comfort does not kill instantly. It numbs slowly. Ask yourself this without defending the answer. How many dreams did you place on pause because life felt good enough? How many times did you settle for stability while something inside you screamed for more? That voice was not greed, it was purpose. And purpose ignored becomes frustration. Say it aloud. I was not made to settle. Look at the men and women who changed the world. None of them chose comfort when comfort was available. They chose strain. They chose risk. They chose uncertainty over stagnation. When Abraham Lincoln stood against a divided nation, comfort would have been silence. When Rosa Parks refused to move, comfort would have been compliance. When Elon Musk invested everything into visions others mocked, comfort would have been preservation. But comfort never builds legacies. Discomfort does. You were not made to wait until the path feels easy. The path becomes clear only after movement begins. This is the law of action. Motion reveals information. Stillness multiplies doubt. Say it aloud. I move even when the path is unclear. Comfort feeds on repetition. The more you choose it, the stronger it becomes. But repetition can be used against it. This is where auto-suggestion becomes your shield. When your mind says, "Stay," you answer with command. Not negotiation. Command. From this moment forward, you will train yourself to associate discomfort with progress. When resistance appears, you will recognize it as proof that you are on the right path. When fear rises, you will see it as a signal that identity is shifting. Faith over feeling. Always, you will not feel ready, you will not feel certain, you will not feel brave, you will act anyway. Emotion is a reaction. Identity is a decision. The person you are becoming does not wait for permission from emotion. Say it aloud. I act from identity, not emotion. There will be days when motivation disappears. That is expected. Motivation is unreliable. Discipline is not. Discipline is simply remembering who you decided to be and behaving accordingly. This is how faith is practiced, not through hope, but through consistency. Subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. Napoleon Hill taught that persistence is sustained effort backed by faith. Persistence is not stubbornness. It is loyalty to purpose despite internal resistance. And resistance will come, not once, not twice, daily, but every time you act in spite of resistance, something changes. The subconscious updates its belief. It begins to accept this new identity as truth. This is how reprogramming happens, not through reading, through repetition in action. Say it aloud. Every action I take rewires my mind. The old self will try a new strategy now. If fear didn't stop you, if delay failed, if comfort lost its grip, it will attempt to confuse you. It will flood you with information, overthinking, analysis, endless preparation. This is procrastination disguised as intelligence. Decide now. I do not confuse preparation with progress. You do not need more information. You need more execution. Clarity comes from doing. Confidence comes from finishing. Power comes from follow-through. From this moment forward, you will measure your days not by how much you consumed, but by how much you acted. One decisive action daily. Non-negotiable, small or large, but intentional. Say it aloud. I execute daily. And understand this. Every time you choose action over comfort, the old self weakens. Every time you choose discipline over mood, the new identity strengthens. This is not symbolic. It is neurological. You are literally becoming someone else. The death of the old self is not dramatic, it is quiet. It happens in moments where you could have stayed the same, and didn't. From this moment forward, I cross the line comfort cannot follow, and in the next part, you will confront the most powerful force shaping your destiny, your environment, and learn how invisible influences either reinforce your old identity or accelerate the rise of the person you are becoming. Your environment is programming you every second, whether you are aware of it or not. The conversations you tolerate, the content you consume, the people you keep close, the standards you allow to exist around you. None of these are neutral. They are either reinforcing the old identity or accelerating the new one. There is no middle ground. Most people try to change internally while staying surrounded by the same external influences. This is why transformation collapses. You cannot repeatedly expose your mind to doubt, fear, limitation, and distraction, and expect decisive faith to survive. Environment always wins against intention unless intention becomes ruthless. Ask yourself this honestly. Who benefits from you staying the same? Who feels comfortable when you do not rise? Who subtly discourages decisive action by calling it risky, unrealistic, or too much? Not everyone who doubts you hates you. Some simply fear what your growth exposes in them. You were not made to shrink to keep others comfortable. Say it aloud. I choose environments that expand me. Napoleon Hill warned that the opinions of the masses are the greatest obstacle to success. The crowd drifts, the crowd hesitates, the crowd seeks approval. Those who lead separate themselves mentally first, physically second. They do not ask permission from the majority to pursue destiny. This does not mean isolation. It means filtration. You choose what enters your mind. You decide which voices carry weight. You become intentional about influence. From this moment forward, you will treat your mind like sacred ground. Not everything is allowed to enter. Say it aloud. I guard my mind with discipline. This is where repetition becomes even more critical. You must counter external noise with internal authority. Every day, without exception, you install belief through declaration. Spoken words shape self-image. Self-image shapes behavior. Behavior shapes results. Your ritual is simple, but non-negotiable. Each morning, before distraction begins, you speak your identity into existence, out loud, with conviction, not as a wish, but as a command. Say it aloud. I am decisive. I am focused. I act without hesitation. Say it again. I finish what I start. I honor my commitments. Say it louder. I trust myself completely. The subconscious accepts repetition as law. It does not question. It obeys. When your actions align with your words, belief solidifies. When belief solidifies, doubt loses its grip. But understand this, the moment your environment changes, resistance will increase. People may question you. Old patterns will attempt to pull you back. This is not a sign of failure. It is confirmation of separation. Every identity upgrade creates friction. That friction is proof that you are no longer drifting. Say it aloud. Resistance means I am changing. There will come a moment when you realize something unsettling. You no longer fit where you used to belong. Conversations feel shallow. Excuses feel foreign. Waiting feels unbearable. This is the point of no return. This is where the old self truly begins to die. Do not mourn it. It served its purpose. It kept you safe when you did not know your power. But safety is no longer your mission. Expansion is from this moment forward. I release what no longer aligns with who I am becoming. You must also understand that environment is not only people, it is routine. Chaos breeds indecision. Structure breeds clarity. When your days are intentional, your mind becomes decisive. When your days are reactive, your mind becomes fragmented. Order is a form of self-respect. Decide now to simplify. Remove what distracts. Eliminate what drains. Create space for focus. Great decisions require mental clarity, and clarity is built through discipline. Say it aloud. I design my days with purpose. As your environment aligns, your actions will sharpen. As your actions sharpen, your confidence will deepen. Not because you feel powerful, but because you are proving it to yourself daily. Self-trust is built through kept promises. Every promise kept strengthens identity. Every promise broken weakens it. From this moment forward, you keep your word, and especially to yourself. Say it aloud. My word is law. And now something critical must be confronted. There is one final illusion that keeps people trapped, even after they gain clarity, discipline, and direction. An illusion so subtle that it convinces intelligent, capable individuals to stop just before transformation completes. In the next part, you will confront that illusion, the belief that you can rise without fully surrendering the old identity, and why true commitment demands a final, irreversible decision. There comes a moment in every real transformation where partial commitment reveals itself as the enemy. Up to this point, effort feels productive, discipline feels strong, progress feels visible, and yet something remains unresolved. A hidden door, a silent condition, a quiet agreement with the past that says, if this doesn't work, I can always go back. That thought alone is enough to poison total power. You cannot become something new while secretly preserving the option to remain who you were. This is the illusion that stops most people right before the breakthrough. They believe growth can be reversible, that identity can be temporary, that commitment can be tested without consequence. But the subconscious does not work that way. It only responds fully when it senses finality. Napoleon Hill made this painfully clear. Faith reaches maximum power only when backed by a decision from which there is no retreat. Until then, belief is conditional. Conditional belief produces conditional results. Say it aloud. I am all in. This is where the final boats must burn, not symbolically, psychologically, emotionally. You must remove the identity you return to when things become uncomfortable. The version of you that waits for rescue, the version that seeks permission, the version that blames circumstances. Ask yourself, who do you become when things get hard? That is your true identity. And if that version still doubts, hesitates, or retreats, the work is not finished. From this moment forward, there is no fallback identity. Say it aloud. There is no going back. This decision will trigger resistance, not externally, internally. The mind will panic. It will search for certainty. It will demand guarantees, but certainty is not part of creation. Commitment is. Look at every great turning point in history. The declaration came before proof. The leap came before the net. When the Wright brothers flew, when Martin Luther King spoke, when Steve Jobs returned to Apple, none had guarantees. They had decisions. You were not made to live cautiously. You were made to live deliberately. Say it aloud. I choose deliberate action. This is where repetition reaches its highest function, no longer as encouragement, but as reinforcement of a finalized identity. You are no longer trying to become decisive. You are decisive. You are no longer practicing faith. You live from it. Every day now, your declarations evolve. Say it aloud. I am the kind of person who finishes. Say it again. I move immediately when I decide. Say it louder. I trust myself without hesitation. At this stage, delay becomes intolerable. Excuses feel unnatural. The old patterns no longer fit. And this is where fear attempts its final tactic, distraction. It will tempt you to delay through busyness, to avoid impact through activity, to replace decisive action with motion that leads nowhere. Decide now. I do not confuse movement with progress. Your focus narrows, your standards rise. Your patience for indecision disappears, especially in yourself. This is not aggression, this is clarity. The death of the old self accelerates here. You no longer identify with doubt. When it appears, you observe it and act anyway. Doubt no longer negotiates. It reports and is ignored. From this moment forward, I act first. Something extraordinary begins to happen when identity fully locks in. Opportunities appear without effort. Decisions feel clean. Energy increases, not because life is easier, but because resistance no longer wastes energy. This is alignment, thought, identity, and action moving in the same direction. And now, the final transformation remains. The last separation between who you were and who you are becoming. It is not about action, not about discipline, not about environment. It is about surrender. In the next part, you will confront the ultimate act of power, the complete surrender of the old identity, and why letting it die is the moment your true life finally begins. Surrender is misunderstood because it sounds like weakness to those who have never experienced its power. But surrender, in its highest form, is not giving up. It is letting go of the false self that no longer serves you. It is releasing the identity built on fear, approval, and survival. It is choosing truth over familiarity. You are not surrendering your will. You are surrendering resistance. The old identity fights to stay alive because it knows what comes next. It knows that once fully released, it will never return. This is why the final stage feels emotional. Memories surface. Old fears speak louder. The mind replays moments of pain, failure, embarrassment, not to protect you, but to anchor you to who you used to be. Do not fight those memories. Let them pass. They are echoes, not commands. Say it aloud. I release who I was. Napoleon Hill understood that transformation requires a clean break. You cannot drag yesterday into tomorrow and expect a different result. The subconscious must be convinced that the old story is finished, and the only language it understands is decisive action aligned with a final decision. This is where faith becomes absolute, not hopeful, not conditional, absolute. You stop asking if it will work. You start asking how you will execute. You stop identifying as someone becoming strong. You identify as someone strong who is refining power. From this moment forward, I live from decision, not doubt. There is a strange calm that follows true surrender, not because challenges disappear, but because internal conflict ends. You no longer argue with yourself. You no longer seek permission. You no longer wait for validation. You move. Cleanly, quietly, powerfully. This is what self-mastery feels like. You wake up different, not excited, not emotional. Certain, your actions become fewer, but sharper. Your words become fewer, but heavier. Your presence changes. People may not understand it, but they feel it. Say it aloud: I am grounded, I am focused, I am certain. Now understand this clearly. The world will test this identity, not once, repeatedly. Situations will arise that tempt you to return to old patterns, to hesitate, to doubt, to seek comfort. These moments are not obstacles, they are confirmations. Each test is an invitation to reaffirm who you are. And every time you respond from identity, the old self weakens further. From this moment forward, I respond as the person I decided to be. Repetition remains your discipline, but now it is reinforcement, not construction. You are no longer installing belief. You are maintaining alignment. Daily declarations continue, but they evolve. Say it aloud: my decisions shape my reality. Say it again: I trust my actions. Say it louder: I honor my purpose daily. At this stage, action feels inevitable. You no longer ask if you should act, only what action matters most. Waste becomes intolerable. Distraction loses appeal. Your standards rise naturally, without force. This is when life begins to respond differently, not magically. Mechanically, cause and effect finally align. Opportunities appear because you are prepared to act on them. People respond because your certainty is unmistakable. Momentum builds because nothing inside you is pulling in the opposite direction. The doubtful identity is gone now, not suppressed, not managed, dead. And in its place stands someone new, someone who decides quickly, someone who moves without waiting, someone who trusts themselves fully. Say it aloud: I am committed, I am decisive, I am unstoppable. From this moment forward, there is no return to who you were. The bridge has burned. The choice has been made. The old story is finished. And what comes next is not motivation, not inspiration, not hope. What comes next is execution. Day after day, decision after decision, until the life you once imagined becomes the life you now command. From this moment forward, you act. Execution is where everything becomes real. Not intention, not vision. Execution. This is the phase most people romanticize, but rarely live. Because execution does not feel heroic. It feels repetitive. It feels ordinary. It feels lonely. And yet, it is the most powerful force on earth when paired with a decided identity. You no longer need to search for motivation. Motivation was a tool for the undecided. You operate from resolve now. Resolve does not ask how you feel. Resolve asks only one question: what must be done today? Say it aloud: I do what must be done. This is where Napoleon Hill's principle of persistence reaches its highest expression. Persistence is not stubborn effort fueled by emotion. It is calm, relentless execution rooted in identity. You are not pushing yourself anymore. You are expressing who you are. Most people quit here, not because it's hard, but because it's quiet. There is no applause for consistency, no praise for discipline, no recognition for showing up again when nothing dramatic happens. But understand this: life rewards what is repeated, not what is announced. You were not made to perform for approval. You were made to build. Say it aloud: I build even when no one is watching. Execution demands standards. Standards protect identity. You no longer negotiate with distractions. You no longer entertain excuses. You no longer tolerate unfinished commitments. This is not rigidity. This is respect for your future. Every small action now carries weight. Every decision reinforces identity. Every completed task strengthens self-trust. And self-trust is the foundation of all power. From this moment forward, I keep promises to myself. There will be days when progress feels invisible. That does not mean nothing is happening. Roots grow in silence. Strength builds before it shows. Momentum is created long before it is felt. Those who understand this do not stop because results are delayed. They continue because identity is fixed. Say it aloud. I trust the process I committed to. The old self is gone, but its shadows may appear occasionally, not to reclaim control, but to test certainty. When they do, you do not panic, you do not analyze, you execute. Action is your answer now. This is mastery. You no longer ask, what if it fails? You ask, what is the next move? You no longer ask, am I ready? You ask, what requires execution now? This is how leaders think. Builders, creators, those who leave marks instead of excuses. From this moment forward, I think in actions, and now understand this final truth. The life you want is not in the future. It is created daily through alignment between decision and behavior. Destiny is not something you find. It is something you demonstrate. You are no longer becoming, you are being. Say it aloud, I am the person who acts. This is the end of hesitation, the end of drift, the end of doubt. The old identity is buried. The new one is active. And from this moment forward, there is only one direction left. Forward. Forward does not mean fast. Forward means inevitable. This is the distinction few ever understand. Speed impresses the ego. Inevitability reshapes destiny. When you act from identity, progress no longer depends on intensity. It depends on consistency, and consistency, applied long enough, becomes unstoppable. This is where patience transforms. Not the patience of waiting, but the patience of persistence. You stop demanding immediate validation. You stop measuring days. You start measuring direction. Every action, no matter how small, points forward, and direction, once fixed, does the heavy lifting. Say it aloud. I move forward every day. You will notice something subtle happening now. Your relationship with failure changes. Failure no longer threatens identity. It becomes information, feedback, a course correction. You don't collapse when something doesn't work. You adjust. Emotion no longer controls response. Identity does. Napoleon Hill taught that every setback carries the seed of equal or greater benefit, but only for the mind trained to look for it. Most people miss the seed because they retreat emotionally. You don't, you stay engaged. Say it aloud. Every setback sharpens me. At this stage, decision-making becomes faster, cleaner, less emotional. You no longer overthink because overthinking belongs to uncertainty. Certainty simplifies choices. You know who you are. That eliminates thousands of unnecessary options. This is mental freedom. You begin to feel time differently. Not rushed, focused, urgent but calm. You respect time now because you no longer waste it negotiating with yourself. Internal debate is gone. Action replaces it. From this moment forward, I decide once and execute daily. Others may not understand the change. Some will question it. Some will feel threatened by it. Some will try to pull you back into old rhythms, not because they want to harm you, but because your certainty exposes their hesitation. Do not explain. Do not convince. Let your actions speak. Say it aloud. My results explain me. You are now operating at a level where responsibility expands. Responsibility for your thoughts, your standards, your influence, whether you intend it or not. Others are watching. Energy like yours is felt. Direction attracts attention. This is why integrity becomes non-negotiable. You do what you say. You show up when you commit. You finish what you start. Not for praise, but because identity demands alignment. From this moment forward, I live in alignment. And here is the final test, the one that separates temporary transformation from permanent power. It arrives quietly, disguised as success. Comfort returns, ease increases, momentum builds, and with it comes temptation. To relax standards, to slow execution, to assume the work is done. It isn't. Success is not the end of discipline. It is the moment discipline must deepen. The world has taken more people down with success than with failure. Failure sharpens, success seduces. Decide now. I do not loosen discipline when results appear. This is mastery sustained, power maintained, identity protected. You have crossed the point of no return. You are no longer asking who you could become. You are proving who you are, daily. And what comes next is not growth. It is legacy. In the next part, you will confront how to protect this identity long-term, how to scale it without losing yourself, and how to ensure that what you've built inside becomes something that outlives moments, moods, and circumstances. Legacy is not something you chase at the end of life. It is something you build into every decision once identity is fixed. When who you are no longer fluctuates, what you create begins to outlast you. This is the final evolution, moving from self-mastery to impact that extends beyond yourself. Most people confuse legacy with recognition, titles, applause, memory, but real legacy is transfer. What you install in others, what your actions authorize in the minds of those who observe you. You may never know who is watching, but someone always is. Say it aloud. I lead by example. At this level, your greatest responsibility is consistency, not intensity, not charisma. Consistency. You protect your standards not because life demands it, but because others learn from it. Every time you choose discipline over ease, you give silent permission for someone else to do the same. Napoleon Hill taught that leadership begins with self-control. You cannot influence others beyond the level you have mastered yourself. This is why identity must remain guarded, not rigid, protected. You do not negotiate with behaviors that weaken alignment. You do not normalize drift. You correct immediately. From this moment forward, as I correct deviation instantly, you will now notice that your decisions ripple outward. Your words carry more weight. Your presence changes rooms, not because you dominate, but because you are anchored. People trust those who trust themselves. Stability attracts. This is why humility remains essential. Ego fractures legacy. Humility preserves it. You remain teachable, adaptable, grounded. Strength without arrogance, certainty without noise. Say it aloud, and I am strong and grounded. Legacy also demands simplification. You remove what is unnecessary. You refine focus. You invest energy where it multiplies. Distraction becomes expensive now, not emotionally bestowed, but strategically. Every yes must justify itself. Decide now. I protect my focus. At this stage, your rituals evolve again. No longer just declarations and execution, but reflection. Each day you ask one question. Did my actions today honor the identity I chose? If yes, you continue. If no, you correct. No shame, no drama, just alignment. This is how identity stays alive. Say it aloud. I live deliberately. And now, understand this truth clearly. The work never ends. Not because you are incomplete, but because growth is the natural expression of a decided life. Stagnation is the only failure left, and you no longer accept it. You have eliminated doubt. You have burned retreat. You have trained faith through repetition and action. You have executed through silence. You have protected identity through discipline. The old self is gone. What remains is simple. Decide, act, repeat. From this moment forward, I am the standard. This is not motivation. This is not inspiration. This is identity. And identity, once chosen and lived, becomes destiny. This is where everything seals. Not with emotion, not with drama, with finality. There is nothing left to seek outside of you now. No missing piece, no secret waiting to be discovered. You have already crossed the threshold most never reach, the moment where responsibility replaces excuses and identity replaces hope. From here forward, life stops asking who you want to be. It starts responding to who you are. Understand this clearly. Doubt will still knock. Fear will still appear. Resistance will still test you, but none of them are in control anymore. They are no longer decision makers. They are background noise, signals, not commands. Say it aloud. I decide who I am, not my circumstances. This is the final death of the old self, not because it never returns, but because it never leads again. The doubtful identity no longer sits at the head of the table. It has been replaced by something stronger, quieter, and immovable. Certainty. Certainty is not arrogance. Certainty is alignment between thought, word, and action. It is knowing that regardless of outcome, you will respond as the person you chose to be. That is freedom. Napoleon Hill wrote that the mind, once dominated by a definite purpose, cannot be defeated by temporary defeat. You are living proof of that law now. You no longer collapse when things don't go your way. You adapt. You execute. You continue. Say it aloud. I am unshakable in purpose. From this moment forward, your life becomes simple. Not easy, simple. You wake up knowing what matters. You act without internal debate. You finish what you start. You measure progress by alignment, not applause. You do not need permission. You do not need validation. You do not need perfect conditions. You need only to continue. Every day, you return to the fundamentals. Decide quickly. Act decisively. Repeat relentlessly. This is how identities are maintained. This is how legacies are built. This is how ordinary lives become extraordinary, not through luck, but through loyalty to a decision. Say it aloud. I honor my decision daily. And now, there is only one final declaration left, not for motivation, not for inspiration, but for permanence. Say it slowly. Say it clearly. Say it out loud. From this moment forward, I no longer hesitate. From this moment forward, I no longer retreat. From this moment forward, I act as who I decided to be. The old story is finished. The new one is no longer imagined. It is lived. I hope this message has been an inspiration to you. If it touched your heart, please write Amen in the comments and share it with someone who also needs to hear this word. I invite you to click on the first comment, where you will find a special prayer and a suggestion to strengthen your spiritual journey. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to receive more inspiring content like this. See you tomorrow.